said, I'd be glad to take questions. I'm afraid only, not that you will ask me a question for which I do not have the answer, but I'm afraid you'll ask me for one that I do have the answer. And I want to mention once again, I didn't get paid a dime for that. But let's go ahead and take questions, okay?
Steve, thank you for your remarks. We have some questions that people provided to us. A lot of good questions, but frankly the most important was whether you got the silver, gold, or space gray iPhone 6.
I got the white one.
Looks like this, so yeah, okay. So now people know what to get.
I'm a computer illiterate, but I can answer this phone.
You spoke about how Boston is different than many of the regional markets in the United States. At the same time, we have, with tribal gaming, nearly 1,000 casinos in this country. One of the questions we have is from someone who runs a regional casino, wondering in that environment, how do they keep their team, their frontline supervisors, motivated in this type of environment where gaming is omnipresent?
What a good question. Wow. That's one of those questions I do have the answer to. And I'm not sure I want to share it. Okay. All right. It's tough out there, right? And everybody wants your best people. I know the feeling. You want to keep them. It's the only chance you got. What keeps them? Money? Sort of. Once people feel like they're being paid well, it's something else. Is the job satisfying? The most powerful thing in human nature is self-esteem. If you can figure out a way in any business to equate experience at that job with an enhanced self-esteem, no one will ever leave. That's the biggest deal. Now that's a simple truth, and most things that really matter in this world are simple truths. The question is, how do you equate an experience on the job with enhanced self-esteem? Because if you can, it will be repeated endlessly. You will have an agile, warm and happy workforce that deal with change in a positive way. Two organizations. Memo comes down, we're not going to do it the way we did yesterday anymore. We're going to do it this way. Organization with poor leadership, here's what happens. Underline employees, damn it, every week it's something new, can't they ever make up their mind what they're going to do? It's this way this week, it's that way next week, what the hell will it be next week? Same memo comes down to a well-led organization, and the people look at it and say, we're doing things differently. We're getting smarter. We're more sophisticated. Glass half empty, glass half full. It's all about leadership. You could see it in the White House, where it's missing. You could see what happens. I didn't mean that quite the way it sounded. Experience matters. Knowing how to do things matter. Understanding the relationship, the parts to the whole, and how important those parts are, and how they have to be satisfied, is the principal job of the boss man. I call it the Dada gene. You don't get befuddled. You have the kind of relationship with your colleagues and respect for your colleagues that allow you to deal with change as professionals that are trained and prepared to do it. The tougher the time, the more exciting the job. Because up or down, all of us who are in this business, we're being paid to deal with change. Whether it's an Indian casino or anything else, or the White House, nothing stays still for 5 seconds. You have to surround yourself with good people, and you got to trust each other. And you got to be able to listen. And you got to be able to say, I don't know once in a while. I want to be the dumbest guy in the room when I'm dealing with problems in my shop. I am actually the dumbest guy in the room. especially when it comes to technology. So look, keeping your employees happy, keeping them in the company, it's right smack dab, whoever asked that question, on your nose. Man, gal, whoever asked that question. That's what you're paid for. And it's a family thing. You get that straight, and you'll have the answer to your question. The techniques that you do to do that are creative exercises. You'll have to develop your own. We've got ours. Next question.
Obviously, yourselves, MGM, Las Vegas Sands have found great success in Macau. Looking at other Asian markets, Japan, South Korea, what are your hopes, your plans in those markets?
Asia's exciting. Oh, it's exciting. I hope that if gaming expands to Japan, for example, that the legislation and the regulatory structure that is conceived by their people is intelligent and well done and offers prospective developers a chance to invest great capital intelligently. Very often the politicians get so carried away with the money part of it. Let's take Pennsylvania, for example. 70% tax rate. Boxes of slots. How simple is that? What the hell they expect was going to happen? You say you're going to take 70% of the money, the guy's going to build a box of slots and hope that he can squeeze out a margin. Take Mississippi, different story. Nevada, different story. Tax rate that said, we want you to invest big capital, build well-rounded, integrated resorts, and we will have longevity. When I was making my presentation in Boston, which is exactly on point to this, here's a competitive situation. And the legislation, as it will in Japan or wherever the hell else they do it, will say, we want to increase tourism, we want to create jobs, and we want to have tax revenue. A, B, C. Taxes, jobs, tourism. Trouble is, those aren't three equal things, except to a politician. Two of those are an effect. One of them is a cause. Tourism is a cause. Tourism is where you bring people from over there to over here. That's a phrase I used in Boston. You know, I was talking to the commission. It's a very serious moment. Very smart people in Boston. The regulators, the investigators, I must say, some of the brightest people that I've bumped into. They got it, even though it's new to them. Bringing people from over there to over here is simple. That means that what's over here is better than what's over there. So what's over here, if it's better, has to be bigger, has to have more stuff. Therefore, it will employ more people. Effect, if you want tourism. It will pay more taxes because unless you bring people from outside the region into the region, you will have what's known as the regional typical profile. Gaming opens up in Illinois, and all of a sudden, a whole new industry is born overnight, and there's a big tax puff. Extra revenue comes in. And then after a year or two, it flattens right out because it's dealing with the same customers, and it's as good as the casino in Elgin, but when there's one over there in Gary, they cut it up. Unless you bring people from over there to over here, unless you bring people from outside the region and have a positive influx of capital from abroad, from outside, you can't have permanent growth and a healthy industry. And so I'm hoping that if Japan or South Korea and those other peoples expand the opportunity, they will do so in a way for their own sake that is intelligent and inspired and has learned from the experience of all of the rest of the world to do it properly.
Great. Two more questions for you, proving that I didn't filter the questions. Your thoughts on internet gaming?
My thoughts on internet gaming? Not much. I've been sitting in my office for 10 years listening to my pals, guys I really respect, tell me, oh, the internet, the internet, the internet. It's like Mount Everest. Can't see over it. We gotta be part of it. We can't be left behind. The old digital razzmatazz. Left behind what? It's illegal in America. No, it's gonna be legal. They're gonna have poker. Yeah? Well, look at all the money that the guys are making that are gypsying in against the law. Yeah, we can't do that. It's illegal. Yeah, but we gotta get into it, Steve. We gotta be ready. Oh yeah? So we gotta throw 30 or 40 million at this to get ready. Or we'll be left behind. That's the thing that scares most baloney executives. We'll be left behind. Yeah, right. Where's the business opportunity, huh? Where's the business opportunity? You got all these states miserably hungry for revenue. They all have lotteries. They have attorney generals and congressmen and governors that are connected to Washington at the hip. You think they're going to let the private enterprise get this money? Baloney. Number two, Uncle Sam allows some form of internet gaming. And they can see every transaction in Technicolor, every minute of every dime you're making. How long before that is recognized as the single most unsympathetic tax target on the planet? They'll tax your brains out. Now, I don't like internet gambling, and in other words, I share Sheldon Adelson's conviction that some kid will get a hold of his parents' credit card, or some guy will pull some baloney and cause havoc in his community. In every single jurisdiction in America, there are some people who think gambling is immoral and wrong. They're religiously convinced or ethically convinced that it's not a good thing, that you don't have the right to decide for yourself. Now, there are people like that, and their existence is undeniable. I may not agree with them. It's an anti-libertarian idea, but there are people like that. The legislator that votes for legalized internet gaming, he has nothing really to gain from it, but if he votes for it, and anything goes wrong in that community, he's going to get blamed for it. That's why there's no support for it in the House of Representatives. Number two, when something goes wrong, sure as hell, some regulator will jump in and decide to throw a whole bunch of new stuff on the backs of all of us, including those of us that have these kinds of buildings and are not in the internet business. Add all of those factors together, and I take a pass on the internet. Just like Adelson.
Last question for you that we received. You've been doing this for a while. You've done pretty well for yourself. What keeps you in it? What do you enjoy at this point?
I was doing it before I came over here. Right until the last second I got in the car with Andrea. I was working on the nuance of the moment of arrival in Boston. And I was thinking about coming in, we're going to have this atrium that's 60 feet wide, that's round. That's a floral thing that happens with Ferris wheels and things that open that are all flowers. And it's a big, tall room, and behind it, I took the idea of two curved escalators that diverge with a glass elevator in the middle. Because I want all the people in Boston, when they walk through the door, to know they're not in Kansas anymore.